August 16th, 1942. The morning of Sunday, August 16th, 1942, was calm and overcast over San Francisco Bay. The fog had not yet lifted. The war was 9 months old, and the western coast of America lived in quiet, constant fear. Japanese submarines had already been spotted prowling the Pacific. Every ship that left port, every patrol that went up, carried the weight of a nation holding its breath. On that Sunday morning, 2 experienced officers climbed aboard the U.S. Navy blimp L-8 and took off on an anti-submarine patrol flight. They left from a small advance base on Treasure Island, California, in the dim, early hours. Those watching the ship disappear into the haze never suspected that a few hours later, it would present one of the most baffling mysteries of modern times.
Their names were Lieutenant Ernest DeWitt Cody and Ensign Charles Ellis Adams. They were not young thrill seekers. They were professionals.
Cody, 27, had graduated from the Naval Academy in 1938. Adams, 34, had been in the Navy for over a decade and had only recently been commissioned as an officer. After some 15 years in the Navy, Adams had finally earned his commission, and this was his first flight as an ensign. It made the patrol more than routine. For both men, this Sunday morning flight was a milestone, a quiet, proud moment inside a world at war.
Adams had already survived one famous airship disaster. He had served as a crew member aboard the USS Macon in February 1935 when it crashed into Monterey Bay during a storm. Amazingly, only 2 crewmen died in that accident. Adams had cheated death once already. He was a man who knew these machines, who respected them, who had lived through what most could not. War History Online. L-8's pilots were experienced and reliable and were in fine spirits that morning. 4 days earlier, the blimp had been declared to be in fine working condition. Prior to that final flight, L-8 had made 1,092 flights without any issues. Everything was normal. Everything was fine. A third man, machinist's mate James Riley Hill, was briefly on board, but Cody ordered him off just before the L-8 left Treasure Island. No one has ever been entirely sure why. Perhaps the mission felt routine enough for just 2. Perhaps Cody wanted to keep the weight light. Whatever the reason, Hill stepped off the blimp and watched it rise into the gray California morning. He was the last person to see both men alive. The L-8 floated out over the bay. Its mission was standard: patrol the waters west of San Francisco, look for enemy submarines, report anything suspicious. The blimp was equipped with depth charges, anti-submarine weapons, and a working radio. The crew had life jackets, standard practice on all overwater flights. The blimp had 4 hours of fuel to spare beyond what the mission required. After passing over the Golden Gate Bridge, Cody radioed in L-8's position as 4 miles east of the Farallon Islands. While searching the area, they spotted 2 patrol boats in the water, one belonging to the Coast Guard, the other to the Navy. Then, something caught Lieutenant Cody's eye. A short message was radioed from the blimp to Treasure Island. "Am investigating suspicious oil slick. Stand by." An oil slick on the surface of the ocean is not a small thing, not in wartime. It means something beneath the water has been leaking. It means a submarine might be near. Cody and Adams descended to investigate. 2 smoke flares were dropped from the blimp, alerting the sailors and fishermen below that they needed to clear the area. One of the fishermen later stated that he saw the 2 men in the gondola of the blimp as it circled the site, before it rose and turned to fly back toward San Francisco. That radio message, "Am investigating suspicious oil slick. Stand by," was the last communication anyone ever received from the crew of L-8. They were never heard from again. For the next several hours, the blimp drifted. 3 hours passed before the L-8 was spotted again at 10:49 a.m. A Pan American Clipper pilot reported seeing it over the Golden Gate Bridge. Then at 11 a.m., it was seen by the pilot of another search plane. An Army P-38 pilot also spotted it and didn't notice anything amiss. He assumed it was simply heading back to base at Treasure Island.
Many experts believe that around this time, after drifting for roughly 2.5 hours at 2,500 feet, the L-8 began to descend. It started to get heavy and fall toward the Earth. U.S. Ghost Adventures. On a beach near the Army Coast Artillery Station, 2 fishermen were casting their nets when they looked up and saw it coming. The blimp was falling on them, right out of the sky. When she hit the beach, practically at their feet, they grabbed her trail rope and tried to hold her down. The blimp was too light now, lighter than it should have been, and they couldn't hold it. It rose again, drifting inland, moving toward the streets and houses of Daly City. U.S. Naval Institute. Around 11:30 a.m., the deflating blimp crashed into a suburban street in Daly City. Firefighters rushed to rescue the crew, but when they opened the door, they found a chilling scene. The blimp was completely empty. What investigators found inside only deepened the mystery. Perfect condition. The radio, engines, and flight instruments worked flawlessly. Fuel to spare. There was still 4 hours of fuel left. Personal effects. The pilot's parachutes and classified documents were untouched. One hat was even resting on the controls. The only clue? The cabin door was latched open, and the loudspeaker microphone was dangling outside. There were no signs of a struggle, no bullet holes, and no distress calls. For days, the Navy searched the Pacific, but no trace of the pilots was ever found. The most accepted theory is an accident. One man fell through the open door while inspecting the oil slick, and the other fell trying to save him. Yet no witnesses ever saw them fall. The L-8 was later repaired, but it carried the nickname the Ghost Blimp forever. More than 80 years later, the ocean still keeps its secret. 2 experienced men flew out into a gray morning and simply